Welcome back to Combat Mission, where we're going to take another quick dip into the spotting system. Specifically, we're going to ask whether or not contact information spread via a unit C2 chain will make enemy units faster to spot. The theory is that a unit that has been told about an enemy unit will spot it quicker than one that hasn't. To test this out, I've made a very simple scenario. At one end of a simple test range, we have a Jagdtiger, because it's big and ugly and easy to spot, and a forward observer team in a building. At the other end of the range, we have two Shermans on a reverse slope. Sherman A is attached to the FO team, meaning that they're in the same C2 chain and will share contact information. Sherman B is in a different C2 chain, meaning that the FO can't communicate with it by radio. Setting the test up is nice and easy. The scenario starts, we wait until the FO team has spotted the Jagdtiger and told Sherman A about it, then we give both Shermans orders to move forward over the crest to a position where they have line of sight to the Jagdtiger. Then we just record how long it takes them to get a solid spot. To make sure it's the same test every time, I've limited the communication between the units. The FO team is in a building because I can delete the windows and have a solid wall between them and Sherman B, meaning that they can't give them any hand signals. There's a big embankment between the two Shermans so that they can't share information visually either. And finally, I made a save after setting up all the orders, so we have exactly the same things happening every time. It's a very quick test. Both Shermans spot the Jagdtiger in the turn they crest, so I've done it 50 times to get a reasonable sample. And the results are pretty conclusive. Sherman A, with the contact information, spotted the Jagdtiger after an average of 14.34 seconds. Sherman B, without the contact information, got the solid spot after an average of 21.64 seconds, so about 7 seconds slower. In raw numbers, Sherman A spotted first 38 out of 50 times, Sherman B spotted first 10 times, and they drew twice. Obviously, there is some variability. Sometimes Sherman B spotted the Jagdtiger first, sometimes they both spotted them at the same time or within a few seconds of each other. But Sherman A clearly has an advantage here. If this was a competitive test, with Sherman A and B targeting each other, Sherman A will be more likely to get the first shot off, and that's a very strong deciding factor in modern warfare. But what this really means is that reconnaissance is incredibly important in combat mission. Getting eyes on the enemy doesn't just matter to the all-seeing, all-knowing player. It also matters to the Pixeltruppen. The more spots you make before getting stuck in, the more of a boost you're giving your own force. This comes with a caveat though. All that information travels through your force via C2 chains, and these are very much up-down ToE dependent chains. They are not networks, they're not webs, they are chains. In our test, all of the allied units have radios, but the FO team is only talking to Sherman A. Sherman B is not in the same C2 chain, so the FO team doesn't talk to it. Combat Mission's radio communications do not jump from one C2 chain to another. They can jump via visual or verbal comms. If both of the Shermans were next to each other and unbuttoned, Sherman A could get the contact and tell Sherman B about it, and once the contact is in Sherman B's C2 chain, it can propagate up and down as normal. This means that you really need to consider how the C2 chains of your reconnaissance elements and the rest of your force interact. A lot of units have organic recce units, but if you're using an independent recce formation, or you've got a motley collection of different ToEs to deal with, you really need to think about co-locating headquarters teams so they can communicate, or rendezvousing units from different C2 chains to share information. That way, all the collected information you have is going to propagate through your entire force and not just stick with some elements. We just demonstrated that this is worth doing. You get an advantage by effectively pre-spotting enemy units, it makes sense to spread those pre-spots as widely as possible, and that means understanding and exploiting the way that combat mission models command and control systems. So that's a very quick look into spotting and C2, a pretty short video, but it's an important one that might give you a bit of an edge. If you'd like to see these videos early and support the channel, you can do so via Patreon and YouTube memberships. Whether you do or not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.